foreign to me, but we should be live now.
Oh, hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Half Rate Heroes on a wonderful Saturday morning. I'm Katie Quixotic. I will be playing everyone who is not these lovely folks as the DM, and I will let them introduce themselves in our typical fashion.
Hello, I'm Carl. I am one of the people who will be playing one of the people that Katie is not. That person is Lafcadio Whitehorn, the Tabaxi Warlock.
Hello, I'm Vinny. I'm another person. I will be playing Kale Irvine, the half-elven cleric.
Hello, I'm Casey. Sometimes I'm a person. And I will be playing Noss, the champion of Timora and Paleo the Plains Heckler, Big Fire Chicken, Shoot, Fight Storm, Slayer of Shadows, and Bane of Beshaban.
Of Neverwinter.
Good morning, everybody. I am not a person. I am a dwarf.
Well,
I am the master of the axe, enemy of the drow, traveler of the plains, destroyer of shadows, deliver certain death. I am the Wampum Thunderman.
Woo!
Oh, I'm next. My name is Graham, or Graham Crackers, and I am playing your best friend and confidant, Taslin Evrio, your favorite Shadowkai Necromancer Wizard.
Hi, everybody. I am a person, both in-game and IRL. I am Derek Sword. I am guesting once again for the 5th session, and there's the sound of my dog running down. I am going to be playing Ryman Olero. He is Nos's adopted dad. He's your dad. I'm proud of you. You're doing a great job. I'm happy to be back once again, and looking forward to this session.
Yeah, who would like to do the recap? Ooh. Nobody wants to do the recap this time, eh? Okay. Okay.
So we started the episode knowing full well that there was a rendezvous point for a bunch of Beshabans that were crashing the party that we were having for Timoran celebration at the Temple of Timora in Westgate. And we figured out their plot. Lafcadio soul caged one of them, so he had to truthfully respond and say this is where our rendezvous was, and it was this big old tree that was out towards the western edge of Westgate. So we all hopped on carpets after telling the folk that were remaining of the problem. Sent 2 people to guard the vault. And then we've got the high priestess, essentially, of the temple, who's also keeping an eye out. We get there, and there isn't any sign of any recent activity except for a place in which something had been burned, and it was one of the playing cards that were donated to the temple for the shindig that was going on. And after a little bit more poking and prodding around the area, somebody finds out that there is a seam in that great big tree. And we find that it is a door. So us beefy people, we get around it and we just rip that thing open. And it reveals a dungeon of some kind. Size unknown. And we go back down into it, of course, like you do when you're an adventurer, and we are immediately met with combat and resistance. And this is a place that is filled to bursting with Beshaban cultists. A lot of madcap craziness went down in combat, including lightning bolts blasting holes into the walls and magical butterflies. And I highly urge you to go check that out, because I'm going to skip that in this summary and go straight to the part where, at the end of the episode, we're standing in this center room-esque situation, and there are these big old dark stained doors with the symbol of Beshaba all over it, and they open, and somebody from within says, "We're waiting." And that's where we're at.
Yeah. And you can have D of Inspiration for doing the recap since nobody wanted to do it this week.
Thanks.
And I usually hand that out for creative recaps anyways. So that's it. I covered everything. So that's where we'll pick back up. There are still illusory butterflies. There will be for the next few minutes that are very stained glass looking as a result of the sunlight spell that is in Kale's drift globe. They were originally all in like a smattering of rainbowy sort of colors and a bit translucent, and that was what created the stained glass effect. And as the minutes wear on, the color is slowly draining from them, and they have like a kind of like a smoky gray glass sort of look to them.
So I'm looking down that hole that's been revealed by the double doors. And in Goblin, I'll just say, how about no?
I love it. There is no response. You see the walls of this place, which are currently very earthen, and some of it looks like natural cave, and some of it looks like it's been like man-made. There's this like a really humid sense to the air, and there's a heavy smell of like rich earth to it. When those doors open, the walls are stone, deliberately placed cut stone. The floor is similarly several different types of stone. It has a little bit of like an odd like cobblestone sort of look to it. The walls are a little bit more uniform, and the corridor reaches beyond the 60 feet of dark vision that you would have, as the light doesn't quite reach all the way down where the end of this hallway purports to be. Might be. Or maybe it's just a void, who knows? This happened before.
Okay, well, Kale says, as he whips back around the wall on top of his carpet that can fly, says, let's see what's behind this door first. And he goes over to this closed door. And I guess, opens it.
Okay. Inside you find, let me just zoom in on my map. Inside you find an empty room. There are like crates. There are a few crates and some barrels. There's kind of like a salty smell to the air. Like this seems to be like a storage room.
Salty smell. Okay. Let's just pop open a crate, I guess, before the butterflies flood into this room and I can't see nothing.
Right. So you find like food, salt, salted meats, some like fruit, no vegetables, and several of the barrels seem to be just filled with plain water, like potable water.
All right, well, I think we can take them, guys. They don't even eat vegetables, so they gotta be.
Gotta eat your Wheaties.
Okay, that's nothing. Kel comes back out and kind of like he's keeping his hand like on the wall, like one hand on the wall while he flies around and kind of hooks back to where he was because he can't see because there's so many goddamn butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
But he kind of loops back around and says there's nothing in there.
That's good. Where was it? Over here? Like feeling along the wall as well.
Yep, probably that way.
Taslin!
Yes, I'm over here. I did not want to be in those butterflies anymore.
Too bad. Come here. Follow my voice.
Oh,
This is my voice. I'm going to continue speaking so that you can find me.
I'll be there shortly.
And I'll try and feel my way along towards the room. Lafcadio, are you here?
Yeah, mate, I'm here. I can hear your voice.
Follow it. Kelly, you too. Want all three of you in here.
Or I'm like, I'm like right next to you.
Are you still standing at the top of the stairs, Nas?
I'm going in.
Okay.
And I'm expecting the three of them to come in after. And I'm going to try to keep as many butterflies out as I can.
Okay.
I reach out, see if I can
Is
hold someone and
going
follow it.
to- Wampum is going to circumvent the butterflies to the south.
Okay. So you just kind of emerge out the side? Are you doing anything in particular while you're over there?
Yeah, I'm just going to walk south and circle around and then come out to here.
Okay. Yeah. You see the edge of the room that you hadn't really gotten too much of a good look around the corner at before. If you glance to the south, you see that there's a sconce on the wall with some sort of flammable material and a natural looking fire burning to provide light, and the sort of naturally occurring earthen walls sort of loop around and create interesting vertices and come around back to the point where this door starts. To the north, there's something similar. You see several walls. Some look to be kind of a little bit more man-made. Some look to be natural cave. Being closer to these double doors, you can see that the corridor seems to be roughly about 50 feet long, and it opens up into another cave-esque looking structure, but it's dark, so you can't see beyond where it basically kind of opens up into a larger area.
Okay. I'm going to stay there just so I'm not a pincushion target.
Gotcha. Okay. Tazlin, are you following Nas's voice?
Yeah. I suppose I will follow Nasa's voice for once.
Okay.
And go out. So that's 60 feet through the butterflies.
Well,
In
she's
the
right
general
here.
area. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking she was the opposite direction. So she's 55 feet away. So yeah, I'll follow her. Do I need to
Okay.
move my token?
Yeah, I mean,
Or did we kill that last cultist that was still in the butterflies?
yeah, everyone that isn't you all is dead. Why are there two Ryman? Did you invoke duplicity?
I did not. I don't
I'm gonna
have that.
delete the other one. Okay. We've got two. We've got one Ryman now. Okay. I looked up and I was like, why is John leaving? You all make your way over towards Nos, who, I mean, you can remember what the area looked like. There was a little set of stairs to a raised platform and then another door. And you're going to kind of throw the door open, Nos, and try to keep the butterflies out, you said?
Yeah, as much as I can. Even if I can just filter it a little bit, it'll be helpful.
Okay. So you see that the hinges aren't on the outside, so that means the door has to open inside, or supposedly. It's one of those flat handle things you just kind of push down. So you do that where this frame has been set into this sort of earthen wall here, and the door swings open, and you see a few empty beds, a bookshelf that has a few books on it, and a desk with some pieces of parchment. Well,
After everyone gets inside, I'm going to fold my arms and say, all right, spell checkers. I'm looking for some heavy artillery. What do you got? Quantity over quality today.
Well, if I can find out the extent of the size of this place, then I could. I think I can evoke a prayer that will cause an earthquake and just kind of bring this whole thing crumbling down into a giant fissure.
That is what I'm talking about.
But I would need to be able to aim it at the right location, I think. Just to make sure we get the part we want to get.
The part that I am most interested in is the area beyond the door and the entrance. Can you work with that much?
Let me think.
Tazlin and Lefkadio, do you have any better concepts, ideas, powers?
Well, I can, as you've seen, I have a couple of things I can do. I don't know exactly what we're going into, so I can't say whether or not my idea is better or worse. I reckon if we tumble everything down, then we lose the opportunity to explore or discover anything that would be in here. But if that's not really our primary concern, if it's all just, murder, then, yeah, tear it down, I guess.
Murder and blessing. Yes.
Well, I don't have really any spells outside of the ability to make someone dead.
That's fair. That
You
tracks.
see, I knew we were going to a party and I wanted to be prepared. I didn't want to, as they say, bring the house down.
Oh, well, turns out that's exactly what's needed.
I know. I never plan well.
Well, my thinking is that we should not do what they want us to do, especially in a house of ill fortune. That's just opening up the opportunity for trouble. So, no.
Now, there is a tunnel up to the north that heads to the east that we haven't explored as well.
But the problem with exploration is that we can't guarantee that if we go down some corridor, that they're not going to come up behind us and gank us. So
That's fair, but we also don't know if there's any more of them down here.
there can be more of them down here. I think an earthquake could potentially take care of those as well. You done communicate, Kale?
Yeah, yes. I'm fairly certain I can do, it's like 100-foot radius of earthquakes.
Okay, so maybe we go back up topside. Me, Dad, and Wampum will plug the entryway, and you find the best approximation that you can of where we're standing right now. Oh, yeah? That makes
See,
sense.
that's my concern. If that open door goes farther than 100 feet, then we'll have done
Well,
nothing
it's
effectively.
well, no, that's not true at all. If we collapse the tunnels that they can pass through, then we can still kill them via suffocation and entrapment, essentially.
Well, without exploring back there, we don't know how deep those tunnels go. They might have other entrances and exits far from here that we don't know about.
But we still get to desecrate a house of Beshaba and scatter them to the four winds.
Yes, but that's only a temporary solution. If those in charge, or if there are more of them in there, escape, then they will simply start up another cult.
All right, so I'm hearing a lot of negatives, not a lot of positives.
The positives is that we killed at least 6 things over there.
Is what you folk are telling me is that you want to go where they want us to go. Is that what you're telling me? You want to play
Absolutely.
into their trap.
Yes. I'm not
That's
afraid
my
of that.
vote as well. What about you, Wampum?
I'm not afraid of them either, but I also like to think that we could be smarter than them.
We don't. I appreciate that line of thought a lot and identify with it. But we don't always necessarily need to be smarter than our enemies if we are much, much stronger than them.
Why not both?
And I think it's, you say we desecrate it, but really I think what you're lobbying for is just burying it. Like Tazlin says, it's not. We can more effectively desecrate, shrines to Beshaba if we are actually at them instead of just putting them farther down where somebody can unearth them again later.
Okay, well, I think my idea is super awesome and great and stuff, but it sounds like I'm the only one that thinks that, so I don't know, I'm with you. Whatever we all collectively decide to do, I'm with you.
Well, Kale, you're awfully smart, and Nos, you're awfully tactical. I certainly don't have anything to contribute that would go in face of either of your decisions. I'm open to either.
Taslin.
That's my name.
Is your familiar around? Can you summon them?
I believe he's with Nos.
Great. So yes. Why don't you just send them down to scout the tunnel?
I can do that. Do we want to search any of the bodies before we leave?
I'm not particularly interested in doing that, but I mean, we aren't leaving. If you just send your familiar down,
I'm going
while
to
that's
do
happening,
that.
we can.
It may take a few minutes. He's very small. He moves.
So you'll have time
slow.
to.
That's what I'm saying. Is I'm suggesting we are busy doing other things while that happens.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, go for it.
Yep. So I'll scoop Iskar off from wherever he is, and I will find a nice little comfy spot to sit down, and I will send that ferret boy down the tunnel.
Oh, that ferret boy. Okay, how far away can Iskar be while you can still see
100 feet.
100 feet
is the limit.
Okay. So are you, and that's just you projecting your senses through Iskar. They can still move further away from you than that, correct?
Right.
Okay. So, and where are you standing while you're doing this? Are you still in that room?
Yeah, I'd be trying to be as close to where I'm sending him off to as I felt safe enough to be.
So, coming around over, oh, that's not pointing, around over here next to Wampum kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So Iskar hops off of, I believe, Nas's shoulder? Or was Iskar back with you for the battle?
He was with Nos because I was going to cast Greater Invisibility, and then I decided I was going to run.
He was sitting on your shoulder, and then when you charged in, he was ducking in and out of bits of armor and stuff. Well, I guess you're not wearing armor, but clothing to try to avoid being hit. So he starts scampering down. How quickly does he move?
He moves. Sorry, I have the Raven stats up.
You're totally fine.
The weasel ones. So he can move 30 feet. He has advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on hearing or smell.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check with advantage then.
That's a 21.
21. Okay. So he starts scampering down the hallway. Like I mentioned before, there were several odd, misshapen cut stones that create the floor looking a little bit like cobblestone. The walls are very neatly cut, light-colored stones. He emerges at the end of this 50-foot corridor into a room that is kind of open air. The roof is earthen and about 30 feet high. Does he have dark vision? He doesn't. There are light sources in the distance that have a bit of a greenish hue to them that as he emerges towards the end of the hallway, and any sources of light start to kind of fade, and it's pretty dark, but he can see that the roof slopes up from the 20 feet that it had been. And he kind of runs into a little bit of a wall. He doesn't actually bop himself into it because he can hear really well in the darkness, and so he's hearing the sort of echoing and can tell that there is a wall there. He rounds a corner and he can see the light sources, and that's what gives him the idea that the roof is probably about 30-ish feet, just based on, or I guess you're looking through his eyes, right? So you can tell that. And If he scampers forward, let's see here. Oh. Come on, measuring tool. He moves forward about another 10 feet. He's kind of like straining at the edges of the 100 feet that you can keep like your senses tied to him, and you can kind of like feel a little bit of that strain. And the walls that he had been kind of like going through in between open up to like a semicircular area with, there's some sort of like structure built in here. It looks like it's a room of some kind, except the walls leave an opening sort of like archway. And inside, you can see looks like 5 individuals standing and talking to each other in hushed tones. He can't hear what they're saying. You can't hear what they're saying. But you can. What'd you say? Oh, sorry. You can see them through the edges of the archway, a couple on the sides, kind of like roam in and out of field of view as whatever conversation they're having continues, and then they seem to walk away to go do something. There are several, these are like wall sconces that seem to have more of like an ethereal, magical sort of like flame to them with this green light that's emanating from them. There's a large carpet in that room. You can see like a circular like desk or table behind them, and beyond that it's difficult to say what else might be in that room because of the walls that come up.
I will convey that to my companions, and
Okay.
I don't think I can I communicate telepathically with them? Yes, I can. Ha ha ha. So I'm gonna tell Iskar to come back.
Okay. Yeah, so you saw there was a fair-skinned blonde human, female, black plate armor. There's a mauve tabard. There were black antlers on the tabard. There was another human female, so like a deep caramel skin and mauve hair. Looked like it was dyed, not naturally occurring. Black vestments, a similar mauve tabard with black antlers, but there was black chainmail over their clothing. There was a pupilless-eyed woman. The hair looked like it was moving of its own accord. Difficult to say why. They had mauve vestments on, black leather armor. Seemed maybe like fayish in nature, just based on their features. There was a raven-haired tiefling in heavy black armor with purple inlays. The adornments on the armor had like antlers, it looked like, in the sort of similar fashion that you've seen around this place. And then there was a red-haired elven woman with mauve vestments on, adorned similarly in black antlers. It looked like she was wearing a crown made of black metal, but twist down and around her face and up over it, extending out into the antlers that you've seen all around here.
Well, they're wearing a lot of antlers. 5 individuals, mostly in heavy armor or chainmail. I don't believe any of them are wizards or sorcerers.
Did the chamber, did it slope down at all, or are they any deeper than we're at right now?
Seems to be like roughly the same level. If there was a change in elevation, it was imperceptible.
Okay, and we came downstairs to get down here. How about how far underground would we be? I think
the stairs themselves were about they were about 20 feet down, and then the little like earthen walkway before it opened up into that sort of like open aired room sloped down a little bit more, so 25, 30-ish feet, something like that.
Okay. And I mean, Taslin's a pretty smart dude. He'd probably be able, if you think, to determine roughly like the direction and distance from us that these 5 individuals were, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know that the to end my tether with Iskar is 100 feet. So
Right.
they were probably, would you say probably around 30 to 40 to 50 feet out past that?
They were about 25 to 30 feet. Like the central of their little group where they were talking was about 25 or 30 feet away from where Iskar had kind of stopped feeling this sort of tether being pulled on.
Okay. Well, Kale, they're about 130 feet away
That direction. Got it.
in that direction.
Okay.
Eh?
Then
Eh?
you can go back to the earthquake idea. Let's just do that.
All right.
Yes.
Well, while you are doing that, I'm going to. Those deer things, are they still here?
They disintegrated into like ash and goo
Ugh.
after they were ended.
Okay, I'll go search the cultist bodies.
Okay.
Just kind of see if they have any emblems or any notes or goods of value.
Okay. How long does it take to cast your spell, Kale?
Well, one action, so Kale's gonna be like, move quick, because I'm bringing this whole thing down as soon as so he's gonna go back up to the surface and like try and approximate the right area and cast the spell there.
Okay. So you're going to be standing above ground, like waiting for everyone to come out, basically?
Yeah, I mean Kale's gonna like fly up on the carpet, get a nice
Okay.
view.
Yeah, I'm gonna also try to get Wampum and Dad's attention and let him in on the plan. Wherein we three block the door so that nobody can run out.
Oh, so you're going to collapse the whole thing.
Shh.
All right, well. One way to solve it. Wish I had that.
Me too.
Make this whole job a lot easier.
Imagine if I could do that.
It's horrifying, yeah.
While you all are having this conversation and Kale's making his way up, Ryman, will you make a wisdom save for me? I heard the roll. Oh, there it is. So that'd be a 15. Let me see here.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Just reading something. You can feel something probing into your mind. The conversation that you've just had, the thoughts that are going through your head about what's happening, it's like fresh on your mind, and you can just feel something, some force kind of like eke its way in, and it's got this sort of like the stench that you always smell when there's like evil afoot, that sort of like sulfurous scent. It's got a feeling that gives you that same like taste in your mouth that the smell does. And you can just kind of like almost feel as if that feeling that you have when like you think something's behind you and like the hairs in the back of your neck stand up kind of thing. Like that happens, and it's just like this weird sensation, as it's very clear that something else is sharing your thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, I think he'll kind of just grab Nos by the shoulder. I have a feeling. I'm not sure that whatever's down here, an earthquake is going to take care of.
That's a large assumption.
It is, but to be fair, there's plenty of things that can move through the ground. There's plenty of things that can survive a lot of hurt.
So you, fellow Free Fate, a great hunter of Beshabans, you think that we should go where they want us?
No, but at the same time, there's something intensely evil. Not just a couple of cultists. You know, I can feel this sort of thing. It affects all of my senses. There's something pulling there, and absolutely, I don't think that we should listen to it. But at the same time, this area has to be cleansed, or otherwise, this has just been a wild goose hunt.
On what grounds? I mean, I still don't understand.
It's that feeling. It's the feeling that I get when I can feel Timora nearby, but it's the opposite of that. It's a pull in the back of my head. It's that taste of blood on my tongue.
I got
it's
it.
the feeling of evil. That's simply what it is. I can feel that there is an immense evil.
So is there anything against still destroying the place in order to take care of all of the others, and then handling whatever comes out in the aftermath?
Oh, I totally
On our
support
ground?
that. Definitely, if we can collapse the earth on them, if that solves the problem, wonderful.
Okay.
But I just want to make you aware that might not. Something might come out.
Oh, I have no disillusions that it will fix everything.
Of course.
Just most things. No, a place this big, an infestation of this size, it has to have a head that is worthy of all that we have seen.
Well, of course. I should have assumed you would have figured that out.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, you know, I've gained a lot of XPs since we were last working together, technically.
Well, to be fair, my hunts don't always go this smoothly. I'm not always as well partnered as with your friends and you. So
They're really awesome, aren't they?
This would normally take a lot longer, but yeah, just spells getting flung back and forth. That's quick. It's real quick.
Thing of beauty. All right,
Chef's kiss.
let's walk and talk. We have a limited amount of time.
All right, just let's be aware that this might not solve everything, and just don't catch your breath until it's all over.
In the meantime, Taslin, you've had enough time to pat down at like 2 of the bodies, and between the 2 of them, they had 7 silver and 18 copper. And
What a score!
Yeah, they have poisoned short swords, that you know from when they stabbed Nas.
Yep. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was going to say,
Keep going.
unless you
Keep
wanted
going.
to take their armor, then that's all they had on them at the time.
Was it like leather?
Yeah, it looks like simple kind of, it's like black leather armor. It's not even studded. It seems like these were very lithe, quick-moving creatures, and so the armor wasn't like particularly well-made, or not well-made. Like, it was well-made, but like repaired.
Yeah. I'll grab a short sword and the silver, and I'll make my way out towards Kale.
Okay. Wampum, were you doing anything in like the last few minutes aside from standing at that door, just kind of like keeping an eye on things? You don't have to be, I'm just making sure.
Muted.
You're muted. Still muted. Nope.
I think
John.
you're like actually muted on Skype.
John's iPad died right before the stream started, so he switched over to
Yeah.
his phone real quick, and it's a very small screen.
We're getting that.
There you go.
Hey.
I don't know how that happened.
Oh. And then we fell.
It's like a Wampum Thunder Buddy, like Go Cam.
Make sure nothing out that door.
You're just going to make sure nothing came out the door. Okay, yeah. You're keeping an eye on things. You saw Taslin and Iskar in, and Iskar come out, and nothing's come out since then. Lefkadi, are you doing anything in particular last few moments while these machinations were going on?
Nope, just I understand that something might be coming through the door.
Okay.
And I'm are the butterflies still obscuring everything?
They're dissipating, like kind of like slowly over time. The like size of the area was like shrinking down, and there's like a few strays just kind of like fluttering about by the end of the conversation between Ryman and Nas. Like the dense sort of like obscuring effect is completely gone, and there's just like a few kind of like flitting about.
Yep, just keeping an eye out on that door.
Okay. So, to clarify for my purposes, the plan is for you all to stay in this portion of the place.
No.
And for Kale to... Okay, no.
The
I'll
plan
leave it.
that I was trying to tell Wampum and Dad specifically was we're all going to go up there. Us three are going to hold the outside door, like with our shields, and I'll use the part of the door that I ripped off that's now sticking in the wall. I'll pull that out. Wampum go low, I'll go high, Dad, you're in the middle, and we're going to try to block anyone from running out of there.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I highly suggest that everybody else be on carpets.
All right. Whip out the carpet.
Okay. So, that puts everyone above ground. Lafcadio and Tazlin on the big carpet. Kale is on the little carpet. The three of you are trying to block the entrance. And Kale, you are going to, like, math your way over to... do you have to be standing in the area to cast it, or how far away can you cast it?
500 feet. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gonna go.
If it's all right, I'd like to go on Kale's carpet with Kale.
That's up to Kale.
That's fine.
Perfect. Just in case Lafcadio wants to swoop in and whip people. I really don't want to be that close.
So I assume Tazlin is invisible on my carpet. So I'm talking to him. It's like, do you think this is going to work? Do you think the earthquake is going to kill them all, or what do you think is going to happen?
You don't know why Lafcadio. You don't know why Tazlin's giving you the silent treatment.
Well,
Are you invisible right now, Tazlin? Okay. Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. He's not talking. You don't know why. Maybe this whole thing is kind of like rattled him. Maybe he's mad. He already like used his good spell. He didn't get to do anything cool. Like, it was cool what he did, but like really like burning someone like before. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe something's eating at him. You don't know.
Do you think they can hear? Okay, good point. Yeah, we don't want to give away our location. Good thinking.
Okay, so where are you positioning yourself, Kale?
Okay, so Kale goes upstairs. He goes out to, there was a river out there, right? Like, so he gets some silt from the river, basically. Like, he just reaches in and grabs some. And Drift Globe floated next to him. He goes up with, I guess Tazlin is on the carpet too. He floats up like a good 150 feet up in the air, above the point where he thinks he needs to do this. Not directly above it, like kind of back so he can look down and see it. And yeah, the Drift Globe floats in front of him, and it's still glowing with the daylight spell because it lasts an hour. And Kale takes the silt and he like rubs it on the Drift Globe, and it starts to glow or whatever, and he starts to say the words in Celestial, some crazy ass shit. And then his hands like are over the Drift Globe, and then he stops speaking for a second, and then he like rips his hands off, and these ripples of energy just shoot down into the ground, and an earthquake begins to happen.
Okay. So what sort of check do you think it would be for Kale to determine where he wants the epicenter of this to be? Like survival, just an intelligence check, investigation? What do you think?
I would say investigation.
Okay, make an
Not just
investigation
because
check.
it's my best skill.
I mean, like,
but-
that's why I'm asking you, because, like,
Yeah.
if he was more inclined towards survival, then he might have some sort of, like, tracking-esque method, but if he just wants to deduce, then that's up to him.
Can I assist?
Sure.
Can I make
yeah.
a case that he was being assisted because of the mapping Iskar did?
Yeah, of course. And, like, if you're on the carpet especially, then you can be, like, talking through it
Mm-hmm.
and stuff.
like, no, point it over there. 32.
Okay, okay. And so you want the middle to be basically like over what Iskar saw, or do you want it to be further back a bit to try to get a little bit more of the known area of the hideout or whatever as well?
I would say center it directly above where the people were gathered.
Okay. All right. So do you like roll damage? How does the thing read us spell effects? I know Earthquake is a spell, but I don't.
No, that's not how that worked. Hold on. I could put it in display, maybe. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
So, I will read it because I'm casting it. Concentration up to 1 minute. I create a seismic disturbance at a point on the ground that I can see within range. For the duration, an intense tremor rips through the ground in a 100-foot radius circle centered on that point and shakes creatures and structures in contact with the ground in that area. The ground in the area becomes difficult terrain. Each creature on the ground that's concentrating must make a Constitution saving throw, and on a failed save, their concentration is broken. When you cast this spell, and at the end of each turn you spend concentrating on it, which is up to 10 turns because of time, each creature on the ground in the area must make a dexterity saving throw, and on a failed save, the creature is knocked prone. The spell can have additional effects depending on the terrain in the area, as determined by the GM. 2 examples of those effects are 1. Fissures. Fissures open throughout the spell's area at the start of your next turn after you cast the spell. A total of, it says 1d6 fissures open in locations chosen by the DM. Each is 1d10 times 10 feet deep, 10 feet wide, and extends from one edge of the spell's area to the opposite side. So 100 feet long. A creature standing on a spot where fissure opens has to succeed on a dex save or fall in. A creature that successfully saves moves with the fissure's edge as it opens. Fissure that opens beneath a structure causes it to automatically collapse. See below. Structures. The tremor deals 50 bludgeoning damage to any structure in contact with the ground in the area when you cast the spell and at the start of each turn when the spell ends. If a structure drops 0 hit points, it collapses and potentially damages nearby creatures. A creature within half the distance of the structure's height must make a dexterity saving throw, and on a failed save, the creature takes 5d6 bludgeoning damage, is knocked prone. And
so here's, I want you to roll a d6.
Okay.
A d10. And then 5d6.
I'm sorry. Can you start over? I wasn't paying attention.
You're absolutely welcome to watch the VOD. So I rolled a 4 for my d6.
Okay.
I rolled a 4 for my d10. And then how many d6 did you say?
5d6.
5 d6s. And add them all up, or do you want the individual numbers?
Well, it says 5d6 bludgeoning damage, so.
Gotcha. 12.
ASMR stream.
2 plus 7 is 9. 20, exactly 20. Hey, how about that?
Exactly 20. Okay. So, you all are... those of you that are on the ground, Kale begins to cast a spell, and as his hands rise from his drift globe, you can feel the rumbling in the ground. You're not within the zone, but things like that can be felt outside of the area of effect. So you can feel the ground, like the sort of like trembling, kind of like extending out to where you are. You can feel it under your feet. 4 fissures are torn across this 100-foot area. The ground begins to collapse. The river begins to flow down into the collapsed area of the ground. Trees are sinking into it. Like you can hear like woodland creatures making scampering sounds and little like cries of surprise as they're like running away from these things happening. In a couple of the fissures, those of you who are up on carpets, especially you, Kale, and Taslin, since you're high in the air. I don't know how high in the air you are, Lefcadio. You can see as these like rend themselves open the ground, you can see down into some of the area you had been before, just on the edges of it. And then you can see into a little bit of this stone area that did exist until it all starts to collapse in on itself. How many rounds are you going to keep this up for the full duration, Kale?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Talzin, I want you to make a perception check. Levcadia, were you next to them on your own carpet, or were you kind of more towards the door? Where are you at?
I am trying to stay close to above or within the proximity of the shield wall.
Okay.
Maybe 20,
How high
30
in
feet
the air
away.
are you?
20, 30 feet
Okay.
up, yeah.
19.
Okay, and you can make a perception check at disadvantage. You're still elevated, but it's kind of far away from you.
That would be 11.
Okay. Some fissures open up. The ground starts to collapse. The river starts flowing into where it collapsed. It's pretty cool, actually. Although you think that this might become like a little bit of a man-made lake along the way that the stream had been running, and don't know how that might affect things. Meh. But it seems to be contained because the spell only affects a small area, so that's good. Taslin, you, especially since you had already seen a bit of what the inside of this place looked like, one of these fissures opens up, and it is adjacent to the sort of area you had been perceiving before. It's a bit left and or to the north of it. So as you're high up in the air on the carpet, you catch just the ground rends itself open. Before it starts to collapse, you see like a flash of like a purplish energy occur and then fade. And that's it. And then the ground starts to collapse, and part of the earth that fell away was close enough to the river that the water starts to flow in.
Kale, did you see that flash of purple right by that fissure? Right about when it was collapsing, it seemed to go off.
No, I didn't see anything. I'm a little busy.
Oh, well, lucky for you, you have me here, and I saw it, so you're welcome.
Okay, just give me a minute. Let me.
Of course, take your time.
So you said you're going to continue the effects through the duration?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
10
for
rounds.
what feels like... Oh, sorry, go ahead. What'd you say?
That's all. That was just described. It's 10 rounds long, basically.
Okay. So for what feels like perhaps one of the longest minutes of your life, the entire ground is shaking all around. You see in this exactly 100-foot radius, the ground collapse and fall away higher on some of the edges than others, and the sort of borders of the river being infringed upon and fill in this gap. And as the water starts to flow in, you can tell that this is just going to kind of create a pond in this area. And since water's flowing in, if there are any areas that, some of you had been wondering if the network extended far beyond what you had seen, which is very possible. But since water is an addition now, it's also possible that those might flood. So that's a thought that comes to everyone's mind. And the minute ends. Unless anybody else has anything specific, the tremors in the ground slowly start to fade. It is absolutely deathly quiet when this all happens because the birds have flown away, the creatures have scampered away, everything has been run off from this area.
Except for Nos going, "Oh, that was awesome!"
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Kill just flies back down to where they were at, and he just kind of sits on the ground. It's very sweaty.
So, are we going back down there to mop up, or is that bing, bang, boom, it's all done?
Well, we all do have water breathing, so if we wanted to,
yes.
I guess we could.
I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, daily water breathing, never forget. Now, a quick question. So I know I mentioned on the carpet that I saw a flash of magic, purple in nature. When the fissure opened up, and I'll point towards the fissure area that was adjacent to the area that I saw, I don't believe they are all dead.
Yeah,
Okay.
to that point, I'd like to use my divine sense again, and just see if there's anything that pops up.
Okay.
If this now seems cleansed, or if there's still an apparent issue here.
So, are you wanting to sense more like the general area, like where you're currently standing, or are you going to like go over to this pond that's filling up from the river?
Yeah, I think he'll kind of start walking just the edge of the pond, and he's going to have to bless the area anyway. But
Mhm.
yeah, this is kind of the preliminary, just seeing how much blessing this is going to take.
Okay. So you use another charge of your ability. You focus your senses and think of Timora, whatever it is that you do. What do you do to prepare yourself and make this happen, actually? How does this work for you? What does Ryman do?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think what he really does is he closes his eyes and he focuses. I think this is more based on training than a natural ability. He's gone through enough temples to Beshaba and enough evil places that he can kind of recognize the smell, kind of like how people are like, oh, I can smell death. Well, he can kind of smell evil. So it does tap into Timora. He is kind of asking for her blessing while he's doing this, but I think a lot of it is learned more than innate as well.
Okay. And your senses extend out in a 60-foot radius. I believe it's 60 feet, correct? Okay. And the sort of like permeating noxious feeling that you had before to the evil is definitely gone. It's not completely gone. You can still feel sort of like the fringes of that taste of blood in your mouth. It's just much less potent than it was before. So it's dissipated.
Okay.
Whether through desecrating the area or through taking out a bunch of believers, may be difficult to say, but it's certainly dissipated.
Okay. Yeah, as far as I can tell, I think we might have solved the problem. I'm going to take a minute and do a little blessing around here. You're all welcome to join. Pray to your own gods as you will. Hopefully, we don't have any further issues. And he's going to take out a small sack of like gold powder that he uses for blessings, and he'll kind of walk the circumference of this new pond and just kind of sprinkle just a little bit into the water as he moves around, kind of saying his blessings to cleanse the area.
Okay. Does anyone join Ryman?
I'm over in the background, like systematically going over to everybody and high-fiving them.
Okay.
That's really its own blessing.
It really is, yeah.
Kale needs a minute. It's just
Kale's breathing.
yeah.
Yeah. Pretty hard lifting.
Caslin.
Up
sorry, go
beside
ahead.
Ryman's shoulder.
Wampum does what?
Walk up beside Ryman's shoulder.
Okay. So you're joined by Wampum. Kale's taking a breath.
What was that, Katie?
Make an Arcana check for me.
Okay, I am kind of good at this, I think. I'll use a viewer inspiration, or did I use the inspiration from the rap last week? I don't remember.
That would be, so the view inspirations are on the screen and the DM inspiration gets ticked on your sheet. So if you have a tick on your
Okay.
sheet, then...
Yeah, so I'll use that.
So although the particular magic isn't one that at least is on your character sheet, is your character sheet fully comprehensive to what all spells are in your spell book?
No.
Oof.
I have
Okay.
my D&D Beyond has all the spells.
Your
I
D&D Beyond
just did
has
a
it all.
rudimentary one on Roll20 because I was lazy.
That's fair. It would be time consuming to do that. Okay. So while you're pondering the magic that you saw, Lefkadio, what are you doing? Are you joining Ryman? Are you high-fiving Nas? What are you up to at the current moment?
Well, if I see Nos high-fiving, I will swoop down for a low five for me, but then go back up just to keep a lookout.
It's very cool. She sees him coming, and she goes around her back, and he goes down, and it's like, pow.
Nice.
So is
Nice.
is Nos high-fiving the air trying to find Tazlin?
She'll just be like, "Don't leave me hanging, Taz."
RCT, where? That was
Okay.
a 25.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take a gander at your list, and in the meantime, Ryman, why don't you tell us about what you do to pray and to cleanse this area?
Yeah, so especially with Thunder Wampum coming up next to him, he's going to grab, just hold Wampum by one shoulder, and then he'll, like I said, just sprinkle just a little bit of gold powder as they kind of move around the lake, and he has a series of prayers that he normally does to cleanse a place. It's kind of one of the pre-written doctrines of Timora, especially since she has this animosity with Beshaba. There is a cleansing ceremony that has kind of been established, and this is normally how he ends his hunts: is destroy the temple, destroy the altar, kill the cultists, and then bless the area. I think when he makes the full circumference, the final thing is he normally prays for Nos. He holds a coin to his lips, whispers his wishes for her, that she has, fortune and love and protection and everything she's ever wanted. And then he flips that coin as close to the center of the lake as he can, and that's the end of it.
It's 100 feet, so you'd have to kind of like chunk it. But if you wanted to throw it, yeah. I was like, if you want to flip it, it's definitely not going anywhere near the center. But if you want to like give it a good heave, then
as long as it ends in the water, it's kind of, he expects that the water itself kind of has that permeability that it will transfer throughout.
Okay. Make a perception check make a religion check for me.
He's not a very smart man, but he knows what love is.
May not be a smart man.
But I know what love is. Yeah.
So, you kind of like, knowing that it's 50 feet away, you don't have to like do like a skip throw or anything like that. But you kind of like, you chunk this out into the middle, and you watch this gold coin kind of soar through the air. And as it touches the edge of the water, there's the like sploosh, of course, but the water that comes up, like the coin hits and it's initially depressed, and then there's the sort of like aftershock that like comes back up in the water.
The bloop. Yep.
Yeah, the bloop. It has like a gold sheen to it, a little bit of a shimmer there.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good sign to Ryman.
Yeah. Tazlin. It's really hard to tell without looking at a person while they're casting a spell, because you can derive a lot of context clues from the verbal components, the material components, if any, the somatic components. Just the way that it happened seemed familiar to you, but it's not a spell that you know. Based on your sheet.
Okay. So it's something I'm familiar with, but it's not a spell I know. I'm assuming Plane Shift then, because I don't know it and I'm familiar with it.
Plane
But
Shift
that's
is
just
in
it.
your book, according to D&D Beyond.
Oh, it might just be in my book because I had the item that grants it.
That's a reasonable conclusion. Or something of that nature.
Okay. I will. Raymond's just like throwing the coin in, I guess. Like doing his thing.
Yeah, you're watching the thing, you see the
Yeah.
bloop, and
I'll
you're
go
like,
over to him. I haven't chatted with him at all. So I'll let him finish his prayer, and then I'll kind of approach and go.
you're still invisible.
Yes, that's why I did that.
You hear Tazlin's voice clearing his throat behind you, but when you look, no one's there.
crap, I'm getting old, aren't I? Alright, Wampum, are you hearing voices? I'm hearing voices.
It's just a pain in the ass Tasman, that's all.
Oh.
Oh, really quick before we do this, I should ask, Wampum, did you want to contribute at all to the sort of like ritual cleansing there that Ryman did? If you wanted to just kind of like stand and think of Moradin and pay your respects sort of thing, that's totally fine. But if you wanted to say anything or do anything, let me know.
No, I'll walk with you, but under my breath, I'm just singing very, very, very lightly.
Okay.
Ryman's a big fan of dwarven music. He's into it. Yeah.
All right, then continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes, Taslin.
Yes. I'm everywhere and nowhere. It's quite contrite. And I'm like slowly moving around, just I don't know. As I walk. Now, it took me a moment, but I believe that whoever was down within the temple itself used a spell, probably plane shift, to escape.
Well, we knew it wasn't going to be easy. We solved one problem, got rid of their temple.
It's a setback, of course.
You take away someone's home, it puts them on the run. I appreciate you letting me know. That means that we have more to worry about, but at least not for this moment.
Indeed.
Unless they're right behind us.
Nope, that's
Okay.
just me.
Okay.
But I think that went swimmingly. All things considered, no one fell into lava.
No, was the swimmingly... We made a pun. Was that a pun?
It was. I'm glad someone appreciates it.
Well, I am a father.
I was going to say we really brought down the house. Or had them quaking in their boots.
Also good. Yep.
Yes, I chose to go with that.
Hey! Hey, old people over there! You know that gabbering?
Well, I suppose we've solved the problem for today, and there still is a party going on.
I think we should go check it out down there, just to make sure. You said you said you smelled like great evil. I think I'm gonna go check it out.
I'll be right there.
I think it's fine now. I did my blessing, and I don't sense anything anymore. I think we might be all right. But if you want to go swimming,
To leave it up to that.
On top of that, I'm sure there's plenty of interesting things to take.
all right. Well, yep. Let's go swimming.
Something double tap.
Did you cast water breathing on the way over here, Taslin? So Ryman has it too?
Yeah, I believe I did it when everyone was together.
Okay,
I
I
think it
feel
was-
like that's correct.
Yeah,
too.
I think it was right when we were in the questioning chamber. Or the interrogation, or shortly thereafter.
That feels right. It was then or on the carpets on the way over or something like that. So I think that would mean that you all have it. Tell me what you do when you go in and want to look for stuff. Ryman, have you ever had water breathing cast on you before?
I don't think so. Going underwater is not normally where Beshaban cultists hang out. So, yeah, I think he's holding his breath for a little while, just puffed out cheeks and everything, until he's just gonna let it go and just really weird.
Yeah, there's that that sense of panic when you're like everything in your body is telling you like don't breathe water. That's not what we do. Why would you do that?
Yeah,
and then when you
absolutely.
finally just kind of grit your teeth and like inhale, there is a little bit of like a weird sensation to it, but you don't feel like you're drowning, and that's interesting. Everybody else is used to it, so I don't think that I had to address that with any of the rest of you, but I feel like it would be weird, even though you know that you're safe. So you're all just going to kind of like dive in and start hunting around on the ground?
Yep. I roll up, land, roll up my carpet, tuck it away, dive in. I got my little headlight from my crown also.
That's true. That's true. I will say, unless you all have a way to do so, I don't think you can talk underwater, even though you have water breathing on, right?
I was gonna ask that.
I think when Teo originally DM'd, he allowed us to cast spells while we were underwater in the plane of water.
So
had
that would
verbal
mean that
components.
somatic, okay, or the verbal components worked. Yeah. Okay, we'll continue with that then. Because to me, pushing water through your vocal cords wouldn't really have the same effect, but that's okay. If it's already happened, then it's already happened. As everybody's getting prepared to dive in, Kayla, why don't you just make like a general intelligence check?
And you are muted.
7.
Seems like a
Wait,
good idea.
I'm gonna use one of my book inspirations.
There you go.
'Cause I got
Book
a million of
inspiration.
those. 9.
Seems like a great idea. So you all get prepared. Do any of you like leave anything behind to not get wet, or just dive in with everything you've got?
Straight in.
I put the poison short sword in the bag of holding.
Okay. Do you want to poison the water? Probably a good, maybe.
I think
Everybody else? Go ahead.
the only thing Ryman's going to leave out is I think anything that might need to catch fire intentionally, like his tinderbox and his candle and that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Okay.
no.
Incense.
Yeah.
Leave it all in kind of like a pile there.
All the stuff that he needs to burn later.
The gold dust. Maybe you don't want to like turn it into actual
Yeah,
gold
that'd be a
chunks.
problem. Yeah.
So you stash it in some high grass in a bush or something, so it's
Sure.
not just like gold dust chilling, because you don't know how long you'll be down there. Because water breathing lasts for 24 hours, right? So you
Wow.
could theoretically take a
Yeah.
nap underwater, and it'd be weird, but it'd be doable. So
Rough to wake up if you take a long nap. Yeah.
That's a heck of a nap. So you all dive in. I want everybody to make, I guess, investigation checks. You're not at disadvantage because Lefkadio's headlight, which extends light in like a 60-foot at the edges radius, right? Bright light and then dim light. So as long as Lefkadio's swimming around, you should get a pretty good look at everything.
And if it's been less than an hour, I still got daylight from the drift globe.
Oh yeah, so this area is well lit. Ooh. So that's like a 34 or something for Wampum.
No, investigation. I don't have anything in investigation.
Oh, investigation, right? Not perception. That's so funny. Okay,
I'm
so
gonna use another book, just announcing that. Another inspiration thing.
okay.
Because finally I rolled double-digit thing. I'll type it in here. It's a lot. 33.
33. Okay. Cardio is swimming around. A lot of mud. Water's a little murky. It's like fresh dirt that collapsed and water that rushed over it. There's enough bright light that it's not like it's not impossible to see through or anything like that. But it's not as pleasant as swimming through clean water might be to your eyes that are open and things like that. There's a lot of dirt. There doesn't seem to be like, I don't know how long you plan to take swimming around and looking for stuff, but the longer you do, the more it seems like we were 30 feet underground, and there were walls and stone and everything that collapsed, and like we might have to dig. Ryman, you're just like trucking along, like feeling through everything on the ground, kind of moving some dirt around, not really finding anything. Same thing for you, Nas. Wampum has sort of a similar thought. He's just left. I'll come back to him. Kale, you and Taz. Wait, Tazlin, are you still invisible while you're doing this? There's like there's like this murkiness in the water, and there's just a Tazlin shape, like going through the murk with like the robes like drifting as he's swimming. You can tell who are good swimmers and who are less adept swimmers pretty easily in these scenarios. It's rough with like robes and stuff on. Nas is killing it, of course, just like sailing through like a shark. You have a similar sort of thought there, Taslin, as you're looking around, and you. This isn't like I probably missed it if there was anything for you and for Wampum. It's like you look around, and as you spend time swimming around, you Wampum and Lefkadiol and Kale all have this thought of like, it is buried under a lot of stuff. We're probably going to have to try to dig to find anything if we want anything.
But of course, we can't communicate that because we're underwater. We can't really.
I would say that, like, if you've ever been in a pool and you have tried to like speak underwater, and it's that like super muffled sound, because you can cast spells. Like if you were to be like yelling things at each other, then you could probably communicate okay-ish.
So Wampum does know that with this landfill, there's really nothing to do.
You are 100% certain that you have looked over every inch of this and have seen nothing of remote interest. There are trees lying around, there's dirt, there's like grass and stuff from all this collapsed like area, and you are confident that you would likely find something, but it would be under all of the debris. So you will all have to spend, or whomever would like to, would have to spend some time trying to like pinpoint the epicenter and dig through this freshly collapsed dirt to try to find the like remnants of the structure, to look through what might have been there.
Wampum will go to everybody and just do this and point up.
Yeah, Taslin will swim up.
Okay.
Too lazy for that.
So anyone who wants to can like rise to the surface of the water.
Yeah, Ryman has to like walk out because he's in full plate. He's like in one of those old like submariner outfits with a big. He's just an anchor at this point.
I love it.
Yep. Head up. Imagine we get back to shore at some point, somewhere, somehow, some way. What would Kale say? I think we got it. I think this is good. I'd like to come back tomorrow and maybe fix this so it's not such an ecological disaster. But I'm gonna have to leave it for today.
Well, aside from that, you did incredible. That was amazingly efficient. We're gonna need people like you, I think.
Oh, good luck finding people like him.
Well, fair enough, but I'd have to teach some people that earthquake spell. That is, and you really sucked it to them.
Yes. Well, it's not something that can necessarily be taught. It's, as I always say, that's just the power of Denier working through me. It's not my own power.
Okay.
I mean, you could say he really rocked it.
Okay, but we're not going to say that. No one's going to say that.
Instead, we're going to head back to the temple.
Yes, that's what.
I heartily approve of all dad jokes. So, it was... What time was it when you all got here? Do you remember? I know it was dark. Dead of night.
You said.
Did you have anything like special planned for midnight? I feel like midnight was just sort of one of those like the normal crowd kind of goes away and that's when the party gets crazy kind of moments, or was there like an event planned for midnight, Ryman?
Yeah, midnight is definitely Adult Swim. That's when like the families get their kids. They're like, okay, the strippers are coming out. Let's go home. Yeah, it's when like the serious gambling happens, when like the booze really gets broken out and the kind of intense revelry starts. There's not really anything to mark the point of midnight itself, aside from just that's when stuff starts getting really crazy. Typically they do have a few brawls. It's totally fine. They probably have some people jumping into the pool that extends out from the fountain itself. Some of them might not be burying their clothes. It's fine. Yeah, it's just this is when the party kicks off and when the intense marathon till dawn really happens.
Okay. So if you all get back on the carpets and head back, it'll take you a similar about 2.5, 3 hours to get there. Is there anything in particular you do on the way?
Do a lot of twists and turns, make it take a little bit longer, and go as fast as I can because I'm trying to dry off.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. Nas, you're getting the as the dampness of the river is being wicked away by the wind. You're getting little spray, not sprays, but little droplets of water splashing out.
Every once in a while, there's just a distant wee woo.
I love it. And yeah, after several hours of this kind of slightly chilly, okay, more than slightly chilly, very cold, damp, you arrive. So you probably don't usually have magic carpets, Ryman. Do you think that the city would be fine with you flying over the edges of the wall, or would you need to land and enter in as normal people?
I'm not sure he would really know about that. Like I said, magic carpets aren't really a thing. I'm not sure they have a lot of flying vehicles coming through. So I imagine probably some guards are maybe oh, what the hell is that? But yeah, I'm not sure they would fire crossbows or anything like that.
Okay. What is your plan for entrance then, everyone? Do you plan to land and approach the city as normal, or test your luck with flying over the walls?
I'm following Cam.
Wampum's just holding on.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Lafcadio's driving, so.
Well, when you put it the way that you put it,
Right?
that's your luck. We
I
have
mean,
to do that now.
You are intelligent, seasoned adventurers, and in cities where you are well known, and you are seen taking off on carpets and then approach coming back on carpets, maybe not as much of a thing. But in a city where most of you are relatively unknown, that looks a little suspicious to just zoom in on a carpet, 10 people or so, just kind of I don't know, invading the city. Who knows what you're doing? Maybe casting earthquake spells from hundreds of feet in the air.
I mean, couldn't also we just fly really high where the guards aren't going to be looking up and then just go down once we're in the center of the city?
It's like the dead of night. So
They did fly out.
Have you ever been in real life tasked to watch over something?
Yeah.
Okay, it's nighttime and you're a guard and you're up a couple hundred feet, maybe in the air, 100 feet or so. Not a couple hundred feet, 100 feet or so, 50 feet, whatever. Depends on the city. You're up high in the air, and you're supposed to keep an eye on anything approaching. Your eye line includes the sky and the ground. So it's not, I mean, you could perceptively go high enough that they wouldn't see you, that it would be you would be zooming so far above that you wouldn't be large enough to notice. But there'd still be a point where, because I think the temple is kind of on the edges of town anyway, you would have to descend. You totally can do this, but as intelligent, seasoned people, this is something that would come to mind.
Maybe to not let the guards get upset with us and shoot crossbow bolts or whatever else at us. Maybe we should just fly low, check in, go through the gate, and then gain some altitude again. It should just take a second.
So,
That's very prudent.
Ryman says we should just fly over.
Okay, yep. Yeah, he's
Kidding.
you're right.
Okay. Do you, I mean,
I'll take off my invisibility while we're coming to the town. But
okay.
seems prudent.
You very mundanely then kind of are able to swoop down to the ground or even approach on the carpets, whichever you'd prefer. State your business, make your way in, and make your way back to the temple without incident or crossbow bolt. When you arrive back, the party is in full swing. On one of the erected stages is a band playing music. The performers seem to have switched out. It would be pretty tiresome to continue dancing and breathing fire for 12 hours. So there seems to be a new crowd of entertainment faces. There do seem to be several people who, I don't know what the the like term it is for the people who like work for the casino and who just like flounce around encouraging people to gamble, but that's a thing that happens. So there's several like well-dressed, attractive people of various like races and identities, species and identities, whatever, that are like holding wine, laughing too loudly, like gently touching people on shoulders. They've all got like beautiful jewelry and makeup on and things like that. And this is obviously the sort of like nighttime crowd that like Ryman might have mentioned at some point. To approach, what would you do? It's about 3 a.m.-ish.
I'm gonna fine. Oh, after you.
I'm gonna go make a beeline for the vault.
Okay.
I'm gonna check in with Madame Ophelia.
Okay.
Go get me some Thunderbelly ale.
All right. Yeah, the tables have been constantly refreshed. There is an entire table now, not just people walking around with trays. There's an entire table where alcohol is being served by several people as quickly as they possibly can. Madame Ophelia, I was like, what was it you said you were going to do? Madame Ophelia, when you talk to her, it seems like everything is business as usual. Things have been fine. There haven't been any additional incidents, although there was somebody who came by wanting to know where you were at. They didn't say why. They were just, there was like some young woman looking for you.
Very pretty, wearing a red dress, maybe?
That sounds familiar. I think that she might have been in red. It was several hours ago.
Okay. All right. Well, wonderful job watching things. I'm going to change out of this very wet and blood-covered armor. Yeah, fantastic. To that point, we did clear out. It looks like that they had an underground temple, the Beshabans. Actually, one of Nos's friends collapsed the whole place with an earthquake. We should get that. That's effective.
Given time and study, I'm sure I could learn how to do that.
Of course. Well, he said it was a boon from his god. Maybe we should start praying for some Timoran earthquakes. I'm telling you, like salt, like all of our problems solved right there.
That's true. We can pray for that, and fortune favors the bold. So I'll also spend some time learning what I can.
Of course. Maybe we have something down in our stacks down in the library. Who knows?
Ooh.
I don't think anybody's ever read everything that's in there.
That would be a very time-consuming feat that I'm not particularly interested in. But I could have people read through them all and tell me what they find.
That's why we have the younger folk. Anyway, I'm going to go get changed. Thanks again.
Of course. Make yourself comfortable. We'll still be going for a few hours yet, as you know. And she kind of like is not upset by that at all, but like you can see the like fatigue in her eyes.
Do you want some tea? I'm gonna make some tea.
The good tea.
The good tea, yeah.
Yeah. I'll be out here. And she like makes an exit.
Okay. And yeah, he'll make his way back to his room and change back into his more decorative armor and kind of vestments and everything, and try to dry off a little bit.
All right. Restyle the hair, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's when you do it in the vaults.
I'm just checking to make sure that Heezy and if Sophie decided to join him, they know that we're back. And apologize for the amount of time that it took, because I told them that it would take a lot less time than that. And say, good news is now you can make up for lost time and just like completely overindulge. So
yeah. You come back and they are like she's like hiked her skirt up and is like sitting on the ground, probably cross-legged, it looks like, with the fabric like all around her, and Heezy's like leaning against the wall. There are like plates around them. There's empty cups, empty like whole bottles of liquor or wine, who knows. And they're both like upright, but well into their cups. Like everything looks fine, But they
great.
clearly have been like enjoying themselves.
So the job didn't keep them from the celebration. That's very endearing. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you walk in and then like Sophie is like doing one of those like backhand like light hits, like he's just made a joke or something, and she's like, that's a good one. And then they both look up and see you come in, and you can tell that everything's fine. And they obviously like took your word to heart, but they were having a good time while doing it.
Looks like y'all had a nice time.
He looks over at you, and he's got one eye that's like kind of like a little bit more closer than the other one. He's
You
like,
have hardcore pirate face, my friend.
he like pulls down a bit of like the cap he's wearing over one eye.
That'll work.
And Sophie's just like quietly laughing to herself. God. And I think that's a good time to go to break. We'll be back after a few short minutes. Don't go anywhere.
It sounds like that issue has momentarily been fixed. So before we go to break, I just want to say thanks to Dax for the 100 bits. Thanks to our new followers, Hunter of the Wolf, Sem the Alchemist, and Chesic Student. And thanks for the subs, Josh and Jeff. We'll be right back.
Don't go anywhere. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you for hanging out during the break and waiting for us to come back after we've gotten up and stretched or done some DM prep or whatever it is that we're doing when we're away. We appreciate you holding on for us. And Carl's got a few short words from Carl before we return.
Why, thank you, Katie. Before we get back to the stream, we want to give a special thanks to our sponsors at Campaign Coins. They are great human beings, not beings, beings, that make metal coins and other RPG accessories. You can check them out at rpgcoins.com or on Twitter at campaigncoins. Campaigncoins.com. Campaign Coins on Twitter. If you want to chill out with an awesome gaming community, you can check us out on Discord. We chat there. Other people chat there. We chat about D&D and D&D related things and non-D&D related things. Come on and you check it out. You can see the things that we chat about. Lastly, if you want to be up to date on the latest goings-ons, follow us on the Twitters. That is open for adventure. And that's when you get the announcements for us at when we're going live, new shows, etc., etc. Back to you, Katie.
Oh, gee, thanks. One of these days, I'm going to remember before we come back from break to get the coin from Campaign Coins that I won at Gen Con. One day, it's right there. That's what I started like leaning over, and I was like, maybe I can reach it. Maybe today. Maybe today's the day. But it's like 6 inches away from my arm, unfortunately. So,
Metaphor for life.
yeah, yes, absolutely. What are the green cards for? Oh, that's not a person. That is an automated thing. Cool. Awesome. I can read. Yeah. So, Casey's checking up on Nas was checking up on the vault. Ryman's getting changed. What is everyone else doing when you return to the party?
Malcolm is taking his love underbelly ale to his room and get out of the gutbuster armor.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know that seat that Taslin had earlier where he was drinking alone?
The one by the puppet show?
Yeah. Taslin is going to take a minute, summon his mansion door right there, and then he's going to grab like 3 bottles of wine, sit right, like resting up with his back against the summoned door, and just start chugging.
Okay.
But he'll talk to people. His goal is to make one friend. If he can make one friend, that is a successful party. So he's going to sit there and have a bottle of wine, and when people walk by, they'll be like, bottle of wine, you want a drink? Check out my mansion, I summoned it. Pretty cool, right?
I love it. People in general are interested when you're talking about it, but they're like, a lot of people are kind of like caught up in the gambling and the activities and things that are going on. But there's one, she looks like she's probably like half elven woman who, as she's walking by, she's got this like long blue, not like a gown on, but it looks like it's a nicely made dress. She doesn't look like incredibly moneyed, but it's like well made. This is like probably her like, good dress or whatever. And she's got like long blondish hair and blue eyes, and she it's like walking by, and you get like, oh, look at this mansion that I summoned, and she stops and that's just a door.
Oh, you would think that. It does seem from the outside like a door, yes. But why would I carry a door into a party? That would be silly, right? Here. Have this. It's, Tears Grace? I've never had it before. Well, I mean, I've had this bottle of it before.
Is this like a fresh bottle you're handling?
Yeah, like a fresh, unopened. But you see, when I open the door, and I'll like, I've been sitting for a while. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And your name? Oh, my name. I'm Taslin Ephraim. I came with Nos and Wampum's not by the bar. I thought he'd be there. Well, I came with some friends.
I'm Rafaela.
A pleasure to meet you. And then I'll open the door, and I think my mansion today is a floor of green, like, like golf greens? It's like golf green flooring and like a fountain with like water coming from the ceiling and like kind of filling up like a water trough. And there's like wood roots coming from like the grass that form like benches and tables and kind of come out from the walls to have like canopy of leaves and like beds and stuff.
She watches you open the door, and she goes to like touch it, to try to like stick her hand through the door and touch it. When you cast it, did you allow her to enter?
I think Taslin would have said anybody can enter from the party. Like,
okay.
That's what his caveat would have been. It's just anyone can enter because I'm summoning it here.
So she like if you're trying to see something's an illusion, she kind of like bats her hand at it, and when her arm goes like inside, she's just like,
and that's not even the craziest part. And like a bunch of like ghostly apparition servants like kind of form up in their butler outfits.
You can just make this?
Well, yes. Yes, I can.
Can you teach me?
I suppose I probably could. I've never tried to teach someone magic before. Mostly they're like...
And she like flicks her hand and casts like the light cantrip.
Oh, that is a wonderful cantrip. I can tell you that you've been practicing by the flick of the wrist. I don't remember what cantrips I have. I have to pull up a different page. I don't have the light cantrip, so... Oh, that is a marvelous cantrip. I don't even know how to do that.
I can teach you this one if you'll teach me that.
That sounds like a wonderful deal. And I will walk her over, and I'll, like, wave my hands, and, like, there's probably, like, a bookshelf somewhere. And I'll just, like, pull out from the pouch my spell book, and I'll kind of, like, look it over, and I'll start jotting down some stuff for her. Like, the proper verbiage for the syntax of the spell, the ingredients.
It's like the Wizard's International Phonetic Alphabet.
Yeah.
Where you're like writing it down and then there's the like pronunciation under it sort of thing.
Yeah. And yeah, so I'll spend time doing that, and like anyone that like stops in is welcome to. There's like a fountain so people can like throw in money that Tazin will collect at the end of the night into this super cool fountain.
Clever. I love it.
But yeah, that's what he'll do for the rest of the party unless someone like searches him out.
Okay. Her teaching you is a little bit less like refined and like systematic. She definitely does that thing where she's like, watch me do it and then you do it too, kind of like. Also, she's like a little tipsy. But it's like, if you were so inclined as to enjoy this interaction, it's pleasant. She's like bubbly and fun or whatever, and it's just like super excited at the prospect of learning the spell.
Yeah, and Tazin will totally try his best to teach her. Do I need to make like an Arcana check or?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, Arcana sounds like the right one for this.
I'll use a viewer inspiration. I feel like Tazin making friends is the prerogative of the audience.
I don't think I've ever once seen Tazin go out of his way to try to make a friend, so
I know.
I want him to succeed.
Watch, it's gonna be like 2 nat ones.
Oh, I'm so glad you used the inspiration. Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
A nat 1 or a 27, so I guess I'm going with the 27.
Yeah. So you're like copying down, albeit like the like recipe for the spell, like how to do it, how to pronounce it, how to move your hands, all this other stuff. You write down the materials that she'll need. And it's like you're really confident that like whether or not she has the ability to do this at some point is kind of going to be up to her in her practice, but she's got the tools necessary. What's everybody else doing?
I made my way to the meats table, just filling up my plate and finding a place to sit.
There are a lot of chairs. Just kind of there's like it's almost like one of those like food court-esque type situations where there's like tables and seating and stuff off to the side. And should you so choose to like grab some food and go sit down and eat, then that's totally an option for you. What would Lafcardio's favorite kind of like meat be? Is he like a beef kind of guy? Pork, chicken, fish?
I reckon lean meats is all him. So yeah, chicken. Any
okay.
poultries?
Yeah, they've got like a whole chicken section. There's like a multitude. There's like lemon pepper chicken. There's like what in like real life terms would be like teriyaki and stuff like that. There's just like there's some just like plain like nicely seasoned chicken for people with like delicate sensibilities sort of thing. So there's a smorgasbord. Kale, what are you up to?
Kale went
there you go.
He went to the is there a table with vegetables on it?
Yeah.
Eric? I mean, yeah,
absolutely.
Katie, you would know too, but
There are vegan and vegetarian options.
okay.
Absolutely.
Which Ryman he explained to you all like several hours ago and several drinks ago and several battles ago or whatever.
Seems like now.
Yeah.
God, yeah, it seems like forever ago. Anyway, he went to because he saw all those meats and he's tired of meats, had enough of meat for the day. So he went to go get some vegetables and a drink of alcohol. And he went to his carpet and he got on the carpet and he's just like floating above the party like in a circle, kind of like a lazy drifting. He's just hanging out.
Okay. Casey, did you have anything else you wanted to say to Sophie and Hazy? Or is it just kind of like palling around now that you're back sort of thing?
Well, I was going to help them up first because I'm sure that they will need help with that. And then I will take some of that alcohol because I need to catch up with them now, which is a thing. I would also like to go check out the vault and make sure that nothing is moved to the best of my recollection.
Did Sophie at any point see you with Kale or get the impression that you you two had like gone off together, because she wasn't there for like.
No, that was pretty spontaneous.
Yeah. So Heezy definitely needs help up.
Yeah.
You reach down. He, without like even the smallest semblance of hesitation or like indignance, just like takes your hand and allows himself to be pulled up. And he like grabs the bottle that he'd been working on, and he like not cheers as you, but like tips it to you and is like, I'm gonna go out there and try my hands at the blackjack.
Okay, you go, pirate.
And he pulls the cap down again where he had like shoved it back over the one eye and starts to drink it again as he's walking away. You reach down to help Sophie, and she kind of like, she fixes like her skirt under her, and she reaches up and grabs your hand. But then she stands up, and it doesn't seem like she needed as much help necessarily as like you had anticipated. And as you like help pull her up, she kind of like puts her arms around your shoulders and is like, oh, I'm glad you came back.
Yeah, there's a moment where our silhouettes down the hallway are just like pretty close together. And I go to like just instinctively brush her hair away from her face and say, you look like shit. In the best way. I mean, like, you look shit-faced. You know what I mean? You look great still.
So to say, I never look like shit. Nice recovery.
Thanks. Sophie, I gotta talk to you about something, just real quick. I don't know if this is the right. How are you feeling?
I feel great.
You good? You solid?
I mean, I've had a few drinks, but not nearly as many as Heezy.
Right. Well, I wanted to. I needed to tell you. I wanted to let you in on something. I know that you're generally a very friendly person, and I like that about you. And I think that we have a lot of fun. We did have a lot of fun. We could have a lot of fun. But I didn't want to. I didn't want to lead you on tonight. I'm how you say, no longer on the market.
That's a change.
Yeah.
May I ask who?
You seen the half elf that I walked in with, the purple one?
A little hard to miss.
Yeah, that's the guy.
You know, Nels, I think that you like complications. Good luck with that.
I don't.
And she kind of like not a boop, but like taps you on the nose, like, good luck with that.
Thanks.
And she'll remove her arms.
Thanks for being cool about it, and I hope you have a nice rest of the night. Remember, the goal is till dawn.
Party all night and sleep till noon. Believe I heard a song about that at one point. Anyway, everything should be as you left it in there. I didn't see anyone go in, unless you have any other friends that like to cause havoc, or there's somebody who has great power and wanted to slip in, then everything should be fine. And she kind of like pats you on the shoulder, and like she like gathers up the empty plates and like the couple empty bottles and just kind of like starts to walk out.
I hate to watch her go, but I'd love to see her leave.
She's not stopping the swagger for any like means. She was being like respectful, hands off, but she's not going to stop like being a player.
Yeah, she's a good girl. She isn't when you meet her, but in her heart, she's a good girl. Anyways, I'm still going to look inside the vault because, yes, we do have enemies with ultra powers. So
Sure.
I'm just going to check on that.
You go in, you take a look around. There are a few things out of place. And although it's been several hours, you realize that those are out of place and it's your fault. But nothing's missing.
Okay, good. Close it back up. Lock all the locks.
Okay. Ryman, you have gone to change. pondering perhaps the events of the evening, your first hunt with Nas.
Mhm.
That was exciting and kind of something that probably you'd always looked forward to. And now it's gone in a completely different direction than you maybe could have dreamed, but a good outcome nonetheless. And you're thinking about this crazy earthquake and making a lake and the people that you saw inside, and knowing full well that probably flooded the whole area. So however far it went, it seems like that will be not an issue, at least for the foreseeable future. And you start thinking about the descriptions that Tazlin had given, that had come through the eyes of his familiar, this ferret you had seen running around that they referred to as Iskar. Ishtar is that goddess. Iskar is currently a ferret. And I want you to tell me whether or not you think for Ryman this would be investigation or religion, or what does he use to teach himself and to remember about Beshaba and her followers?
Yeah, I think between I guess investigation and religion, it would probably be investigation. Not all of Beshaba's followers are cultists. You know, sometimes there's monsters involved. Sometimes it's just people that have been hired by the religion but don't necessarily follow it itself. So I think investigation is probably closer.
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation check. And since you have so many details, go ahead and do it at advantage.
Okay, that's not amazing. Do I have bonuses, inspirations, or anything?
You
I think you've been
3 rerolls.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to do it.
gonna make the shot.
So much better.
This is something you've dedicated your entire life to. There's some knowledge of the church that the cult, the followers of Beshaba, that would definitely not be commonly known. But since it's something you've dedicated your entire life to, you just in general have more of a familiarity with it than the average person would be. So, although you don't know the entire structure of it, you do know that there are initiates, novices, priests. There are specialty priests. You know that most of the people in power are women. And you know that there is an elite assassin force made exclusively of people who identify as men, and that that's the highest rank that any men in the following can hope to achieve, because higher ranks are always occupied by women in the church. You know that the favorite colors of Beshaba, among them are red, mauve, and black. And you know that there's a tiered hierarchy, and that people who are among the hierarchy are marked. Now, you know that there are markings that you aren't going to be able to read because it's very secretive information, but the markings are usually on the instep and on the inner thigh. None of that was described, of course. You didn't get to identify specifically or take down any notes on anything you found on any of the people that were left behind. But based on the description, just thinking as you're drying off and changing, based on the description, it seems like the people that were in that back room, whatever was going on, whomever was in there, they were pretty high ranking, or at least a couple of them were. The crown is something that's been whispered about, that you've heard about. The color schemes, these people were important. These weren't just cultists or assassins. This was something more than that. What, you don't know. Who specifically, you don't know. But just with the information you have at hand, something big was happening, had happened, was going to happen. And at least they're not in that area anymore. That much you can tell.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's pondering all of that while he's kind of preparing the tea for himself and the madam. Yeah, I think as kind of the tea comes to a boil, that's kind of when the realization dawns on him that this might have been a head, if not the head, something to really be concerned about. So, yeah, I think once he's prepared the tea, it's an especially caffeinated brew that he puts just a nip of booze into. That's the good tea, and he'll
Irish
kind of
breakfast tea.
yeah, exactly. No cream, the way the Irish intended. And he'll bring a cup to Madam Elena and then Ophelia, and then he'll kind of be walking around with his. He'll look out for Nos. I think that's something he would want her to know. I'm not sure necessarily where he would find her.
In the time that it takes you to doff your armor, to dry off, to get changed, and what have you, how long are you going to spend looking into the vault, Nos?
Not long. I'm pretty satisfied after I poke my head in. I will, however, find a nice tucked away place, a good hiding spot, and I will take out Iron Fang and put it there and kind of cover and bury it.
Cover it in gold?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the vault is kind of like a big open space, except for like the lockboxes and different things that are in there to like house important stuff. Nothing is big enough to stow Iron Fang in, but the like amongst the like vessels that would hold like gold and riches and things like that, you can definitely like just like shove it down into the bottom and bury it where, you know, it's hardly going to be seen as people deposit and take gold from the top of the like repository.
Good enough. And then after I exit, I'll be swigging on that bottle that I took from Heezy. And I will head towards the area in which they're doing blind archery.
Oof. Okay. As you make your way out, you see Ryman coming out in his more like ceremonial garb, and he seems to be like looking for someone. He's got like a teapot in one hand and some like cups on like a tray in the other. And you are looking for her. So you find her exiting. Are you still in your like wet clothes?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
there was like some amount of air drying that happened on
That's
the way
true.
here, but yeah.
That's true.
My hair's all voluminous now and stuff.
Yeah. Windswept, you might say.
Darling, did you want any tea? I made some for the madam, and I didn't know. Well, you seem to have a bottle.
I'm
so,
good, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Beverage taken care of. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about tonight. You and your friends did incredible, of course. This was something I could have never expected or dreamed of. This hunt with you. It's been too long. But I do have a concern about the people that your friend's familiar saw. I'm just worried that I know they're not taken care of, especially from what he said about there being some sort of planar teleportation. These were, I'm almost certain, very, very high in the hierarchy of Beshaban. And they might be gone for now, but they're not gone for good. And I think you should know that. We've unfortunately made some pretty powerful enemies tonight, and I know that's you're no stranger to powerful enemies. That's one of your charms, but to add another to the list, you should just be aware that we might have met some of the very top tier of what Beshaban would throw at her enemies.
Got us. Don't tell me this is Angwin Cole all over again. Glug, 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 glug.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised. He fits right into the kind of person that would be at that level, and he certainly hasn't forgotten you. Just careful. You know better than anyone to not fall into Beshaba's traps, and I want you to be safe.
What do we do? I mean,
Well,
we don't know where they went. We can't go after them. The best we can do is wait for them to come to us. But I have to go fight Shar. I can't stay here.
No one's asking you to. The best we can do is what we're already doing. We
Yeah, but if that happens and if they come back, then they're just gonna have you and Madame O. And I know that there's Ulysses and Dandy and stuff, but they're not gonna.
I would be. An all-out assault on the temple is foolish. To fight Timora on her home ground, I don't think that that's stupid. I think all we can do is what we're doing. We celebrate Timora. We boost her power through that. We enforce. We support Timora, and we use her fortune, and we continue hunting. Your task is elsewhere. You have gods to fight. We have enough people here that me and Madame O are more than sufficient to defend this place and to continue to seek out Beshaba and her followers. Don't worry about us. You have enough to worry about already.
She's just staring at you like there is like a shriek of doubt in her eyes. Like if they were the tippy toppy of the tippy toppy, then like I know you can hold your own dead. I know you can. I know Madame O can, but you're still going to be outmatched because of the sheer amount of people. The only way that you wouldn't be outmatched is if you had people like us around you.
Well, I'll just need to train some people. I can't ask you to stay here. I can't. It's something I would never even think of. You have so much more that's been promised to you on this world and every other world that we could think of. You have a divine purpose, and just don't worry about us. We'll be all right. You know what? I'm never alone. I always have Timora by my side, as you do.
Okay. I'm gonna go try to have a party now.
Yes, that's what we're here to do. We've fought our fight for the night. It's not something to worry about now. Now is a time of celebration, and perhaps tomorrow, after a little bit of sleep, a lot of bit of sleep, we can brainstorm some more and perhaps come with a better solution.
Okay.
Go do some blind archery. Try not to kill anyone.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna fix it. Is what I was gonna do. I'm gonna go fix it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I love you. Everything's going to be fine.
I love you too, Dad. It just starts walking off, just grumbling.
So you make your way out. Tazlin, you're inside your mansion. People have started like wandering in, and they're like waving hands to the servants. And if you've given the servants direction to like give people things like food and drinks and whatever, then they can like make orders from them.
Yeah, I think they're making flapjacks. Mass
I
producing
love
these
it.
flapjacks.
It's the International House of Taslin's Pancakes. Lefcadio, you're enjoying your chicken and watching like the goings on, and people watching here is amazing. The conversations that are being had are hilarious, especially because there's so much alcohol involved. Kale, you're kind of like bird's eye viewing everything, and it's like watching a bunch of drunk toddlers like mill about and trip over things, but like all laughing about it and having a good time and like bouncing back up like there's no problem. Ryman, as you exit, you can see off in the distance you're heading, you see Madame Ophelia. She's kind of like standing in the middle of it all, this like island of calm amongst the people like like stumbling over themselves, and people like rushing around to like refill drinks, to like refill food on the tables. The people like dealing cards and like running tables and stuff like that. And she's just kind of like, people are coming up to her and leaving one by one, either at the party or from the temple. And she's just kind of like directing, waving hands, giving orders or whatever. And as you approach, she kind of like reaches back without even looking at you and just takes one of the cups. You already have tea in one of them?
Yes, yeah. She always is kind of like an eye of the storm, so I think he's just, dropping off and moving along.
Mm-hmm. So she just reaches back and grabs the tea and like nods at you, and she starts to take a few sips as she continues to speak. And so you've got the teapot and the tray and the cup. What are you doing with those when you've poured yourself one to kind of like help you get through the evening?
Yeah, I think he's just going to hand it off to one of the servers. He'll probably, track down a server who already has an empty tray and just hand it off to them.
Okay. And I imagine they would be familiar with this from any other celebrations or like late night festivities that you've had before, so they know what to do with it.
Sure.
And you hand it off, and you kind of turn back around, and you're surveying your work, and things are going well. All the difficulties have been dealt with. You're all honoring Timora. Like this seems to be going really well, especially since you were able to like clear out some sort of enclave or what have you. And as you're kind of like pondering and looking at your handiwork, essentially, this young woman comes running up to you with she's like holding hands with this young man behind her. She has on like a really simple but nice and very pretty sort of a green dress. There's embroidery up the sides of like leaves and vines. It's got a little bit of like a sheer top where it has like a cowl neck that hangs down in the back, and just looks. It's really it's very pretty. It's obviously not like expensive, but it's very pretty. She's got green eyes, and she's got this jet black hair. And she used to be half elven. So does the man who has brown eyes and blonde hair. They come running up to you. She's kind of dragging him, but it's like excitement. Like he's rushing along as well, but you can tell that she's like the ringleader here. And she comes running up to you and says, "Oh, I heard that we could. You do marriages on parties like this. Is that true?"
Yes, absolutely. We do for something as special as that, we wait until dawn itself, and then yes, the true blessings of Timora upon a union. Are you interested, you two?
Yes. It's kind of a quick decision, but we thought, what better of a time than when we're celebrating good fortune?
And he'll kind of take both of their hands, go, "It is the best time for a decision like that. You both love each other, I'm sure."
And they both like nod emphatically. And he looks a little sheepish, but like he agrees. Is like there's no like hesitance behind it. It's more just like general embarrassment. His cheeks are a little bit red.
And your names?
Well, I'm Clarissa, and I'm Dinero.
Well, that's all I need to know. I'll make all the preparations. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And he'll kind of wave down a couple of the attendants, and he'll motion them. We're having a wedding. If you could prepare for that, and if you could take Clarissa and De Niro and prepare them for the ceremony, and it will be at dawn. So just a few hours. That's all we should need.
Well, we have most of the things we always use for this. Flowers, kind of late. I could probably still find some flowers.
I'm sure we have some around. Yes, just a nice bouquet. Get the shawl, the gold fabric of gold shawl for her. Ceremonial bowls. And yeah, just the censers on either side, and notify Madam. She'll want to know about this, of course, and then we'll just prepare either side to welcome the new couple once they are that.
They nod. Like, yes, we can, we'll get it done. Where would you want them to set it up, typically?
So marriages tend to be kind of, if you think of the temple as being kind of like a vertical rectangle. There's the fountain and kind of the big golden statue of Timora are towards the center, and further back from that is the altar. And then kind of the pool extends from the fountain. So you kind of have a natural one side for the groom, one side for the bride sort of thing, separated by the pool. So the altar is really where the ceremony is performed, and then the two couples they'll fulfill the rest of the ceremony as they move on either side of the pool and then rejoin at the end.
Okay. You know that in the sort of like garden area that you've all cultivated at the temple are there's like a variety of easy to grow flowers. None of you are druids, but you can plant seeds and with fertile land and care can make sure that things grow in their own time. You do have some flowers on hand that are typically thought of to symbolize sort of good fortune. There are some peonies, which short blooming season, aren't currently in season, but there are some alstroemeria, which are generally thought of to like symbolize good fortune. So if anyone has anything else they want to do for the rest of the evening, maybe join some of the people skinny dipping in the pool. Otherwise, the night will conclude with the ceremony.
I think towards the end of the night, Tazlin will send a sending spell to Raziel.
Okay. What does he say?
Hello, I'm drunk. This is Tazlin. I'm at a temple, at a festival. Wait, I count festival as two words. I miss you. Not dead yet. How long have been gone? I've been gone. That's 25.
I love it. I believe with sending, there's like a 5% chance.
5% chance, yeah.
Yeah. So do we want to say it's 1 to 5 fails or 95 to 100 fails?
We'll do 95 to 100.
Okay, go ahead and make your D10 roll. I'm like staring at roll 20. Nothing's happening.
That's not what I want. I want a 1d100. There. 50.
Perfect. You're pretty sure the spell worked? A little hard to tell. You look at the empty bottles next to you. You receive a response. Hello, darling. Glad you're not dead yet. Things are going as well as expected. Nothing alarming so far. It's been several months. Love you.
Oh. I guess I'll waste. I don't need another 3rd level spell slot. I'll burn another sending. Look at me. I'm a loose cannon.
Whoa.
Spell slots, what are those? Get on my level.
Spell slots for days.
Spell slots for days. Per long rest, really.
Yeah.
Oh, has it been that long? Ha! Time is tricky that way. I love you. I will try to get back to the Feywild soon. Kinda got cursed by Shar. Can't use plane shift.
Roll again. We'll just see if this one makes it. I forgot.
Oh no! Oh well.
You can't really tell. It feels like the spell probably worked.
Yeah, it's okay.
But you don't get a response. But if it's been like months since you left for her and you know it's only been like a really short amount of time for you, it's probably just that like she's asleep or something.
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
Yeah, and then I think Tazlin goes up to his room and sleeps. Or goes into a reverie. Not the mansion one. I mean the room they have specifically in the temple that people can't enter because it has a lock.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, and I'm scooping out all the gold that was thrown in the fountain if there was any.
There were 19 gold.
My goodness. All right.
Anyone else? Any activities for the rest of the few hours before dawn?
I was gonna go fix the blind archery.
Oh, yes, blind archery. Yes, let's go do this.
So
Yep.
they still got people like running in front of it and stuff, and the people that are shooting are still blind. Is that the scene that I come up upon?
So people are running in front, like trying to dodge the arrows to see if they have good enough luck to dodge it. Yes. People who want to, so there are like bets being taken, and people can bet on themselves to see whether or not they're fortunate enough to make it. And their return is doubled if they are blindfolded as well, so that they are just like blindly running across the field. So you see some people just like running across the field. Some of them are naked. Some of them have blindfolds on. One person is like hopping in like a burlap sack instead of running. And there are 4 people lined up with blindfolds on, doing the archery.
I walk up behind all the archers as they're loading their next shot, and I'm like, halt!
One of them goes to like knock their arrow, and they completely drop their bow. Another one, like in their panic, accidentally like looses it, but they hadn't like done like a full draw, so it kind of like sails off to the side and like skitters on the ground. One of them kind of like calmly puts theirs down and like looks in your general direction, but they're blindfolded, so it's just like kind of like faces you. And then the 4th one, like they go to pull, and then they stop, and then they just wait.
Good form. Good form. Yeah, the one that stopped. Good on you.
Thanks.
Yeah. I fold my arms behind my back, and I look at them all side to side, up and down, like a displeased drill sergeant. And I hold myself high as I start walking out into the front of the line, where they would be shooting. And I tell them, luck is a combination of opportunity, yes. You must first give yourself the option to be lucky. But it is not just luck. Luck does not need to be blind. Luck is opportunity in combination with intelligence, wit, and preparation. Anytime you use a skill, you are giving yourself the opportunity to be influenced by Timora. You don't need to be stupid in order to make this applicable. So you have an option now. Either take off the blindfolds, or people stop running in front of it. One or the other. This is how this will be fixed currently. I will not have any blood spilt here due to stupidity while I am visiting my mother's temple.
You can see when you first started talking, it sounded like a pep talk almost, and like the archers were like standing up a little straighter. The one that you had like complimented earlier was kind of like, and as it like, oh, they had us in the first half kind of, and it turned around to be like, why are you doing this? This is ridiculous. You can see that like small bit of like pride momentarily just kind of like fade, and like the shoulders slump a little bit, and they all look a little bit sheepish as they like set their bows.
All right, I'll see this and I'll say, skill opens you up enough for luck. Use your skill. Use yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in Timora. You don't need to take any extra measures in order to make sure that Timora sees you. She does. She sees all of you.
So just for Katie's reference, are you encouraging the people who are shooting to take off their blindfolds and other people not to run in front of the targets?
I'm giving them an option.
Okay.
I gave them an option. You can either take off the blindfolds or stop having people run in front of the arrows. One or the other.
Okay.
Still want to let them have their fun.
Yeah.
But
so, yeah, I was just wanting to make sure that I understood what you were getting at. So one person like takes off the blindfold and kind of like looks around like one of the archers does, and you can see the people that had been kind of like running back and forth, kind of like sheepishly take a step back, and they all kind of like look at each other, and like one person like nods back to like where the drinks are, basically like where the party is, and there's kind of like nodding going around, and one of the people who was like blindfolded and running through like takes off the blindfold, which like unravels into what was probably like a large ascot kind of like big scarf thing they could have tied around themselves, and they look over at the person that's like nude, and they like toss it to them, and that person like wraps it around their waist, and they all they all head back out, and the one person that was an archer that took off their blindfold kind of like watches what's happening and takes a look around again and like puts theirs back on.
Don't go in front of that one. All right. Resume. Thanks.
And they nod their heads. They don't look like they're like chastised children or anything, but it's kind of one of those like, all right, yeah, you're right. That's not a good idea. That's bad. This is bad.
It always grinds my gears whenever people have the wrong idea about Luck being blind.
That's fair.
I'm gonna go get in on some of the card playing now.
Okay. So you spend the rest of your evening playing cards. Taslin taught some spells, went to bed. Lucadio, anything special for you?
By the way, I'm still looking. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm still looking for the one potential Beshaban that's still in our midst.
Okay.
So it took like 3 hours to get to the temple, 3 hours to get back, and some time was spent there.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been less than 8 hours since we left initially?
Yeah, like 8 hours will be like right at about dawn.
Okay.
Because you weren't there for very long.
I will pull out my silver cage with my little buddy, who's going to be gone pretty soon. And I'll say, all right, mate, we tore down the temple. There were some folks below that might have got away. You reckon you know where they went?
You have to answer truthfully, but it could be cryptic, right?
Yep.
I was never so important in life as to know the machinations of my betters. But surely in the end we all returned to her. Doesn't seem like they knew.
Got it.
Is that all for Lucadio?
Yeah, I guess I'll
Okay.
go up for seconds.
Yeah. I'm just giving everybody the opportunity before we wrap up again. Kale, anything for you? Wampum, anything? Eating, drinking, having a good time?
Wampum comes down in his fine sips again, and then he'll head over to the meat table and just fill himself up. Like he'll stack three plates down his arm and just start filling meat.
I love it. You can see this, Kale, while you're sitting atop with your vegetables and like some dips that you had taken from the vegetable table and put on your plate too, and you see Wampum walking like arms of plates full of meats over to a table. So then, the sky starts to turn that sort of like pre-dawn grayish purpley color. There's like the ever so bidden hint of orange threatening to creep over the edge. There is not less like not an archway per se, but there is there are two like columns that are brought out from which there's like a banner hung between the two, but it's really just like a large ribbon, and wrapped around these columns. They're like wooden beams, but they're like they're carved, and there are symbols of like scales and gold and things like that on them. There are wrapped around it vines and some of the flowers from the garden. I'll let you describe the ceremony, Ryman, but the prospective couple does come out with their cloth of gold adornments, with their bowls. She has a bouquet made of flowers from the garden as well. Looks like they did the best they could. They all look fresh and nice. It's not like the sort of flower you would often see in a bouquet, but since it's the middle of the night and it was kind of last minute, this is what you all usually do, is improvise. And they take up their correct positions, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yes, but improvisation is especially important for these last-minute weddings. So he kind of has the attendants gather, the attended masses on either side, kind of lines them up on either side of the fountain and the pool, and then he has Clarissa and it was De Niro, right? Yeah, he has them stand on right next to each other. And side by side with Madame Ophelia, he stands at the top of the altar, and he takes the bowls from him, he puts them on the altar itself, and he kind of raises his voice and he addresses everyone. He says, "Thank you all for being here. This celebration was incredible to begin with. Thanks to all of you, we've raised money for the poor of this city. We've celebrated the name of Timora, and I think we've all had a great time. Celebrations like this are made even more special by what we're about to do. Most people know Timora as the goddess of luck and fortune, the Golden Lady. What some forget is that fortune denotes risk, the idea of chance, of fate. And there is no greater risk than placing your hope and your love on another person. These two are taking a chance on each other, and as of now are joining their fates together as one. But here, under the light of Timora, luck and fortune smiles on their love. It smiles on their gamble. Timora blesses your union, Clarissa De Niro. And though there may be times in the many years to come that it seems that luck is gone, that fate has forgotten you, I promise you that that is not true. Timora is always by your side. She always smiles down on you, and with her, luck smiles down as well. So to you and your union, I say, may luck be ever in your favor. Do you have symbols of your love, rings, bracelets, anything like that?
They look at each other kind of like shocked, realizing that there should have been like a modicum of preparation for this. And they just kind of look back at you like,
oh, okay. And he'll turn to Madame O, who has rings just in case, just simple gold rings.
mm-hmm.
And they have just a slight enchantment to make sure that they fit very, very one ring, aside from being connected to, a being of absolute evil. So he'll present them rings, and once again address. He says, "Let us all celebrate the love of Clarissa and De Niro. Show them your gratitude, and show them your love now." And he hands the bowls back to them, and they split going down either side of the fountain, and people put gold coins in. It's kind of their ceremony. That's the towards their new marriage, and everybody applauds and everybody's so happy. And then they get to the very end and they kiss, and the celebration's over.
And people at this point, they're like exhausted, but happily so. Many people have won. Many people have like just thankful for being here, are feeling very open-handed. And so as the couple reaches the end, each of their bowls are filled. She's had to take like a bit of her like skirt and turn it into like a makeshift like bag. And like she's set the bowl in there because there's some gold that's like spilling over, and so she's kind of like using that to hold.
When it passes around and I get a hold of it, I'm going to slip one of the Alexandrite gemstones into the bottom.
Nice. Go ahead and make a sleight of hand check, but do it with advantage because everybody's drunk.
It's 11. I'm also drunk.
You are also drunk. I'm just going to do a general... Oof. It doesn't seem like anyone noticed.
I'm really...
You, like, came out and you've got, like, the gold coin, like, where everyone can see it in the hand, and you kind of, like, open your hand up and, like, slowly slide that in under it. I think you got away with that one. And they reach the end, and they look very happy, and they share in their first kiss as a couple. And there's cheering, there are toasts. Other people who are obviously couples kind of like look at them and look at each other and do that thing. And other people who are obviously not couples look at them and look at each other and have a different sort of like attitude towards their exchanges, their visual exchanges. And yeah, the sun begins to rise and illuminate the golden statue over the pond. And I think that's where we'll end for today. Yay! Well, that went really differently than I thought it was going to, but I'm glad it went that way. That was super cool. Hello, everyone. I'm Katie Quixotic. I've been there and your DM for the day. You can find me everywhere as Katie Quixotic. I stream sometimes on various channels. If you want to know where I'm at, you probably should follow my Twitter. I'm also like moderately funny, so maybe that will be entertaining there too. And then I'll let everyone...
Understatement of the century. Just to throw that out there.
I'll let everyone introduce themselves. Oh, wait, and thank you for joining us, Derek, for so long and letting us capitalize upon like a month and a half or something of your Saturday mornings. And thank you for the sub, Zach.
An absolute pleasure.
One of my friends just subbed. And my favorite part, I think, man, it's a tie between the like... Earthquake was really great, but I think the wedding kind of like that was really great, and that was not my idea. So it's not like me saying like my idea was super great. That was actually Derek's idea, and I thought that was absolutely fabulous and exactly the sort of thing that would happen. So that was a really good idea, and I'm so glad you suggested that and that we got to like end on that note. And I'll let everyone else go.
Hi, I'm Carl. I played Lafcadia Whiteholm, the Tabaxi Warlock. You can find me on this channel also on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 Central. We're playing a homebrew 5e campaign, mostly homebrew. Just started, so come on and watch from the beginning. You can also find me Friday nights on Savric's channel, where we're playing in a Planescape game. That's 7 Central. You can find Casey at those times in those places as well, because we play together. My favorite part, or at least a part that I really enjoyed, was the idea that we were going to go further into this temple and deal with these other cultists or whatever. And we had a scout go down there, and Katie described who they were in great detail. So clearly, Katie had prepared for, it seems to me anyway, Katie had prepared for us to have a lengthy combat encounter. But a particular spell was cast under a particular conditions, and it made the combat null and void. And then Katie rolled with it, and that's awesome. And the fact that these powerful beings are still out there and now want vengeance is obviously, ideal, what you want for, further D&D adventures. So I think it worked out amazingly. And that's all I have to say about that.
That was definitely unexpected, and I definitely enjoyed it. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm Vinny. I play Kale, the guy that did the earthquake. I exist on social media. My name is Scuzzery in chat. I was the one talking shit about Katie. My favorite part. Okay, so my favorite thing that actually happened was the wedding. Obviously, it was just a really nice moment. It was really good, really great way to cap off a session. Like that was one of the very few times I think we've actually ended a session at like a natural stopping point. It was really nice. My favorite thing that didn't happen was in my head. I started thinking about stuff after the earthquake. I started thinking about like how powerful spellcasters we are, because I was thinking about like Kill could come back and like fix this. Like I could come back and do like a bunch of stone shapes and control water to like put things back the way they are. And it was just so interesting to me to think about the fact that we're at the point now where we can like change the whole everything. We just change the whole ecosystems and stuff with like a wave of our hands. That's neat. I'm done. I'm done now.
Hi, I'm Casey. And I played today the champion of Timor and Bill Plains, Heckler Big Fire Chicken, she would fight Stormslayer Shadows, Beta Beshaba, Nos, the boss of Neverwinter. And you can find me at all those times and places as Carl suggested. Again, that's back here on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. CST, 9 EST for Strands. And also Fridays, 7 p.m. CST, 8 EST for Echoes in the Ether on Sabric's channel. And y'all definitely hit upon the highlights of the episode, definitely, with the wedding and the earthquake. The description of the earthquake was super freaking cool. And I enjoyed Vinny's explanation of how winded Kale was afterwards, and how he always does that, where he's a good role player in that he shows the exhaustion from the things that he does. But also, Tazlin had a lot of really, really great funny moments today, too. There were cool collabs, like Lafcadio talking to him being invisible, like potentially invisible on his
That's
thing.
what I was going to do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'll stop there. Next.
Oh, man. I'm always at the bottom of the end.
I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry.
You know what I need to start doing is I need to start going, like, we've got our clockwise round and then our counterclockwise round, so you get to go first some point, and like your answers aren't all stolen.
For the record, there are two more Tazlin moments that I will not mention. There you go.
Well, I can't mention my own moments. That was a Lafcadio moment. I think it's my turn. No, it's John. John, it's your turn. Jeez.
Oh, okay. Hey, guys, I'm John. I am the Dwarf from Marabar, Master of the Axe, enemy of the Drow, Traveler of the Plains, Destroyer of Shadows, Deliverer of Certain Death. I am the Wampum Thunderbelly of the Selenar. My favorite part was what actually didn't happen, because I was probably one action away from running down that hallway to start combat. And I'm glad I didn't run down the hallway.
I'm glad you didn't run down the hallway.
But other than that, I enjoyed just walking up, softly behind Ryman and just peering over the hole in the ground with all the water. But other than that, I'm done.
Hi. Hello. Some call me Graham. Why? Because that's my name. I am Graham, and I play Tazlin, Evrium, Shatterkai Wizard, every Saturday from 11 to now. And sometimes you can find me on social media. Mostly I'm active on the Discord. But if you're not on Discord, you can find me somewhere. I have like 4 Twitters, I guess, allegedly, that keep popping up. Favorite part that hasn't been said is I really liked when Raymond was blessing the pond, and he kind of went and you painted us the story of him doing this before, having the gold dust and kind of going around sprinkling it, and I thought that was a very neat thing because things don't get blessed often. So
Yeah, that was
hashtag
really cool.
blessed. And I'll turn it over to the one, the only, the dad of the year, nominated 3 years running,
Kodak.
Paladin of Timora, Derek Sword.
Hey, that's me. And, some people call you Graham. I like to call you the Space Cowboy. Sometimes the Gangster of Love. Hi, everybody. I am Derek Sword. Yes, that is my real last name. Yes, it is awesome. No, you can't have it. I have been, once again, Ryman Olero, adopted dad to Nos. Your dad as well. You're doing a great job, and I'm proud of you. You can find me on Twitter at dsword16. I'm also on Discord in the same place if you want to be friends there. Tonight and every Saturday night, I am over on Stalwart's channel. That's STAULWART, where we do DM's Guild modules, and I will actually be in, not tonight, but next week, GMing for a few sessions for my first time ever streaming as a GM. So I'm really excited about that. I am also on every other Tuesday, so not this coming, but the next, on Uncanny Adventures, where we play Call of Cthulhu on Shadows over Stillwater. And I'm now on a podcast. I'm on Monster Crush with the amazing Heavenly. We just had an episode released, which is episode 26, and we're releasing some new episodes soon, so we're going to talk about monsters we want to smooch. And as far as favorite moments, of course, the Earthquake. I love player solutions that are outside the box, and I love when an amazing player can think of that. Props to you, Vinny, and then an amazing DM can roll with it. Props to you, Katie. That was incredible. And then to Casey as well, the thought to investigate, even though everything's probably fine, let's still go underwater and investigate. We have water breathing. Graham's done water breathing. You might as well use it. I loved that. Just that the double tap. It was great. And to each and every one of you, technical issues be damned. My computer literally crashed in the last half hour, so I'm on my phone now. So, but this has been an incredible opportunity playing with all of you. You are absolutely, each and every one of you, my favorite players. This has been an honor, a blessing. It's been just so good. Everybody watch this show. These characters they're beautiful. They're well thought out.
Derek, you are such a treasure. We are so happy that you could join us.
It's been incredible. So everyone, I hope to see you again, and to everyone else, keep watching, because this show can only keep getting better and better as these players and this DM weave this incredible story. So thanks again, everybody.
So, you're so nice. And yes, again, thank you so much for joining us. It really was like everybody, I like every session, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't pick a favorite moment because you're all so good at this. You just always do things that I love. And if it hadn't been for the wedding and just getting to end the night on that note, it definitely would have been Tazlin making a friend would have been probably my favorite. Just like the cool little things that you all think of, and you're exactly the same way, Derek. Like all the thought you put into everything, the great ideas that you have, the character development, it just makes it a really immersive world. For me, and that's why it's so easy to DM for you all. Like shenanigans be damned, whatever. Maybe I did put a lot of thought into that, but I liked the way that it turned out because, it serves me right for actually prepping for once. Didn't need to do that. No, I'm kidding. No, but it's getting to think about the outcome of what if this underground structure collapsed is something that's interesting for me. So it's just really easy to DM for you all because everything is so well thought out that I just really enjoy it. But anyway, so I think we've got a final words or something, and then a raid. I don't even remember how we end ever. Carl handles all this stuff. I'm just here.
No final words, but yes, looks like Welcome Party RPG will be playing a Neverland game, so Peter Pan type stuff. So
that's fun.
they're starting right now. So stay tuned to after the
nice.
credits, and we will be joining them momentarily.
See
Bye.
you next week.
Bye.
Bye forever.
Oh,